Good day, Daniel Rowe with you. Let's talk about money, savings, and investment opportunities.
Everyone talks about compound interest like it's some kind of magic trick that transforms your life overnight. And yet, when you actually start investing, something completely different happens. You check your account after 6 months, and the growth looks almost embarrassing. A year passes, and you've barely moved the needle. 2 years in, and you start wondering whether all those financial gurus were just lying to you. Meanwhile, you watch people around you buying cars, going on vacations, living their lives right now, while you're supposedly doing the responsible thing by investing for a future that feels impossibly distant. The gap between what you expected and what you're experiencing creates this uncomfortable cognitive dissonance that makes you want to give up entirely. Here's what nobody tells you about building wealth through compounding. It's designed to feel like it's not working. The mathematics that eventually make people millionaires are the exact same mathematics that make the first several years feel like you're wasting your time. Understanding why this happens and more importantly, knowing exactly when it changes is the difference between giving up right before the breakthrough and actually building the wealth you're capable of creating. There's a framework called the 75-31 rule that explains not just why compounding feels slow, but precisely when it starts accelerating, and what you need to do to ensure you're still in the game when that acceleration kicks in. Once you understand this framework, your entire relationship with investing changes because you stop measuring yourself against unrealistic short-term expectations and start seeing the actual trajectory you're on. Let me break down exactly how this works. The first number in the 75-31 rule is 7, and it represents the minimum number of years you need to stay invested before compounding starts producing results that feel meaningful. This isn't an arbitrary number pulled from thin air. It's backed by nearly a century of market data and reflects something fundamental about how wealth actually builds. Consider what happens when you invest money in a diversified portfolio, earning roughly 10% annually, which is approximately the historical average return of the S&P 500 going back to 1926. In your first year, a $10,000 investment becomes $11,000. That's $1,000 of growth, which sounds decent until you realize you could have earned that working a few extra shifts at almost any job. The opportunity cost feels enormous because you gave up spending that $10,000 on things you actually wanted, and all you got was $1,000 that you still can't touch. In year 2, your $11,000 becomes about $12,100. You've now made roughly $2,100 total, but it took 2 entire years. Meanwhile, inflation has eroded some of that purchasing power, and the things you wanted to buy 2 years ago now cost more than they did when you started. The math technically works, but it doesn't feel like it's working. By year 3, you're at around $13,300. By year 4, approximately $14,600. By year 5, roughly $16,100. 5 years of discipline. 5 years of watching other people enjoy their money. 5 years of trusting a process that hasn't delivered anything life-changing. And you've accumulated about $6,000 in gains on your original $10,000 investment. This is exactly when most people quit. They look at 5 years of sacrifice and see returns that don't justify the emotional cost. They conclude that compound interest is something that works for other people. People who started with more money or got luckier with their investments. They pull their money out and spend it on something tangible, something they can actually enjoy right now. And then they miss everything that comes next. Because here's what happens in years 6 and 7. The acceleration begins. Your $16,000 becomes roughly $17,700 in year 6, then $19,500. In year 7, you've nearly doubled your original investment. And more importantly, you've crossed a psychological threshold where the annual gains start feeling substantial rather than trivial. But the real magic happens after year 7. In years 8 through 12, your account grows from $19,000 to roughly $31,000. In years 13 through 17, it explodes from $31,000 to about $50,000. By year 20, that original $10,000 investment has become approximately $67,000. and you've contributed nothing beyond the initial amount. The compounding curve isn't linear, it's exponential. And exponential curves are deceptive because they look almost flat for a long time before suddenly shooting upward. The 7-year mark is roughly where the curve starts bending noticeably, where your gains in a single year begin, exceeding your gains from the first several years combined. Historical data supports this timeline convincingly. Looking at rolling 7-year periods in the S&P 500, there has essentially never been a period where investors experienced negative returns if they stayed invested for the full 7 years. Short-term investing is gambling. 7-year investing is wealth building. The second number in the 75-31 rule is 5, and it addresses why so many people fail even when they understand the importance of staying invested long-term. The 5 represents the minimum number of different investment categories you should spread your money across to ensure you're actually capturing growth rather than just hoping you pick the right thing. Most people who start investing make a critical mistake. They put all their money into whatever performed best recently. Maybe they heard that tech stocks were crushing it, so they bought nothing but technology companies. Or they read that small cap value stocks outperform over time, so they concentrated everything there. The problem isn't that these strategies can't work. It's that no single category consistently outperforms across all market conditions. And concentration exposes you to devastating losses exactly when you can least afford them. The 5-category framework suggests spreading investments across large-cap quality stocks, value-oriented investments, growth stocks purchased at reasonable prices, mid and small-cap opportunities, and international or global exposure. These 5 categories behave differently under different economic conditions, which means when one category struggles, others often compensate. This matters enormously for the psychology of long-term investing, because the biggest threat to your wealth isn't market downturns. It's your own behavior during market downturns. If you're concentrated in a single category that drops 50%, you're far more likely to panic and sell at the worst possible moment. If you're diversified across 5 categories and your overall portfolio drops 20% while some portions actually hold steady or rise, you're much more likely to maintain discipline and stay invested. Diversification doesn't maximize your returns in any single year. It maximizes the probability that you're still invested when compounding starts accelerating. The average stock market return is roughly 10% annually, but actual returns vary wildly from year to year. The S&P 500 delivered about 25% in 2024 and roughly 26% in 2023, following a negative 18% in 2022. Individual categories experienced even more dramatic swings. Diversification smooths these swings enough to keep you invested through the volatility, which is ultimately what determines whether you capture the long-term average return or abandon ship during temporary downturns. The third number in the 75-31 rule is 3, and this might be the most important number of all because it addresses the psychological reality of investing rather than just the mathematical theory. The 3 represents 3 distinct emotional phases that every investor experiences, and understanding these phases in advance is the difference between surviving them and being destroyed by them. The first emotional phase is disappointment. This happens when your investments deliver returns that technically qualify as positive but feel inadequate compared to your expectations. You invested $10,000, expecting to feel wealthy, and instead you earned 7 or 8% in a year when you heard your coworker's crypto investment tripled. The returns are working, but they don't feel like they're working, and that emotional disconnect creates genuine disappointment. The second emotional phase is irritation. This occurs when your portfolio seems to stagnate for extended periods, delivering returns so minimal that you question whether investing is even worthwhile. Maybe the market went sideways for 18 months. Maybe your balanced portfolio returned 3% while a single stock you didn't own returned 40%. The irritation phase makes you angry at the process, at the advisors who recommended it, at yourself for following conventional wisdom instead of taking bigger risks. The third emotional phase is panic. This is the most destructive phase, and it occurs when your portfolio actually loses significant value during market downturns. Panic doesn't feel like disappointment or irritation. It feels like you're watching your financial future evaporate in real time. Every day brings worse news. Every check of your account balance confirms your worst fears. The logical part of your brain knows that markets recover, but the emotional part of your brain screams that this time is different, that you need to get out before you lose everything. The panic phase has destroyed more wealth than any market crash in history because it causes investors to sell at the absolute worst moment and lock in losses that would have recovered if they'd simply done nothing. The 2008 financial crisis, the 2020 pandemic crash, the 2022 bear market. Each of these events saw massive numbers of investors sell at the bottom only to watch the market recover to new highs within months or years. Market corrections of 10 to 20% happen almost every single year. Larger corrections of 30% or more occur roughly once per decade. These aren't anomalies. They're the expected cost of capturing long-term returns. Investors who internalize this reality don't panic when corrections happen because they've already accepted that temporary losses are part of the deal. The fourth and final number in the 75-31 rule is 1, and it represents a simple commitment that dramatically accelerates wealth building. Increase your investment contributions by at least 1 meaningful increment every single year. This might mean adding 10% more to your annual contributions when you get a raise, or simply increasing your monthly investment by a fixed dollar amount each year. The power of this annual increase is almost impossible to overstate. Consider two investors who both start investing $500 per month at age 25. The first investor maintains that $500 contribution for the next 30 years. The second investor increases their contribution by 10% each year. Both earn the same 10% average annual return. After 30 years, the first investor has contributed $180,000 of their own money and grown their portfolio to approximately $1,100,000. Not bad at all. They've turned their contributions into more than 6 times what they put in. But the second investor who increased contributions by 10% annually has contributed approximately $340,000 and grown their portfolio to approximately $3,200,000. That's nearly triple the wealth from the same starting point, simply by increasing contributions each year. The annual increase does 2 things simultaneously. First, it puts more raw material into the compounding machine, which means more dollars experiencing the exponential growth curve. Second, it aligns your investment contributions with your income growth, which typically increases over your career. If your investments stay flat while your income rises, you're actually investing a smaller percentage of your earnings over time. The annual increase keeps your savings rate proportional to your growing capability. Ultimately, building lasting wealth is not about finding a magic trick or getting lucky. It is about understanding the exponential nature of compounding, preparing for psychological challenges, and staying invested long enough for the math to work in your favor. The growth will feel slow until suddenly it isn't. If you found this insight valuable, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button to support more content like this.
Drop a like, subscribe, and head to the next video on my channel.